recognize the picture? Communication specialists have proven that statement true. They say that 87% of what we retain comes from our sight or some visual. 9% of what we retain comes from our hearing, and 4% comes from the other senses. I think that's quite unique, and I think Jesus knew that very well. Jesus, in the Synoptic Gospels, Matthew, Mark, and Luke, always spoke to his disciples in parables. We remember the parables, don't we? The parable of the Good Samaritan. Remember? The parable taught that it is important to do good to others no matter who they are. You remember any other parables? How about the prodigal son? The story or the parable about God's unconditional, relentless love and mercy for each one of us. How about the parable of the rich man and Lazarus, teaching us that what we do in this life of ours has repercussions in the life after? Can you think of any other parables that strike you? Jesus painting with broad strokes a wonderful vision for us, enabling us to understand exactly the point he's trying to make. Not so in John's Gospel. We don't have parables in John's Gospel. What we have are I am statements. I am statements, Jesus claiming divinity, but also trying to explain to us his relationship with his Father, his relationship with his disciples, his self-understanding, plus his relationship with us. And that harkers back to the Old Testament, the book of Exodus. You remember this? But said Moses to God, when I go to the Israelites and say to them, the God of your fathers has sent me to you, if they ask me, what is his name? What am I to tell them? God replied, I am who am. Then he added, this is what you tell the Israelites. I am sent me to you. In the Gospel of John, we hear Jesus using that statement, I am, many, many times. He says, I am the bread of life. I am the living bread come down from heaven. I am the light of the world. I am the vine. You are the branches. And in this particular gospel passage, John 10, we hear him say, well, we heard him say one, he implied one, saying, I am the good shepherd. And then he says, I am the gate for the sheep. Both of those need a little explanation. I am the good shepherd implies that he has sheep who understand what the shepherd is all about. There's some type of relationship. I don't know if you've ever seen a sheepfold. It's kind of an interesting place. It's not the place or the home for only one shepherd's sheep. It's the place and home for numerous shepherds' sheep. And when the shepherd is trying to lead his sheep out, he goes in and calls them by name. And what do you know? They recognize his voice. They understand. They have this wonderful relationship with their shepherd. They won't go with another shepherd. They won't go with a thief or marauder. They only go when they're called by name, by the voice they recognize and love very much. One who takes care of them. He also says numerous times in our gospel passage today, I am the gate for the sheep. Has anyone ever seen a sheepfold? I did not understand this until I actually saw it with my own eyes. It's actually an enclosure, like 4 walls next next to a building, but there's no door. There's no gate. When Jesus says, I am the sheep gate, or I am the gate for the sheep, he means he's actually lying down there in that space where their gate would be, so that no one can get into the sheep gate and the sheepfold to steal a sheep, and none of them can get out without the shepherd knowing it. What a wonderful symbol for us, kind of a wonderful allegory that St. John is painting for us, that Jesus is the gate by which all of us attain salvation. He is the gate. He is the one we have to embody, whose life we have to live, whose dying and rising, that whole paschal mystery, we have to live each and every day of our lives. Have you ever seen sheep? Cute little woolly things. Kind of nice. Snuggly. But they're pretty simple. When they're in the pasture or in the field eating or on the cliff eating, they kind of don't pay much mind to anything else. They're just going their own way. And I've been told that if they go towards a cliff, they'll eat their way right off the cliff. They do get lost from time to time, obviously why they need the shepherd. I was running down Edgewood Avenue today, as I normally do on a Sunday, and all of a sudden I see two dogs without collars on the sidewalk, and they actually made way. They went single file to make way for me to go on this side of them. And I kind of chuckled to myself. I said, these are lost dogs. And as I'm running, I turn around to see where they're going, and about half mile down the road, I hear a whistle, and I see the dogs turn into some yard. So they obviously weren't lost. But sheep get lost. Dogs get lost. We get lost, don't we? I heard a story once I'm going to share with you about a professor who was on a train going from Chicago east. And as he boarded the train, he got busy with his work, got engrossed in his work. The conductor comes around and says, tickets please, tickets please. The professor is looking all over, hitting every pocket, looking for his ticket. Can't seem to find it. The conductor says, don't worry, I'm going to do the rest of the train. I'll come back to you. You might find your ticket. So the conductor comes back, and the professor is still looking for his ticket. But the conductor says to him, I recognize you. I saw your face in the paper. I kind of know that you're a famous professor. I'm going to let you slide. I'm not going to worry about your ticket, so stop looking. The professor says, you don't understand. I have to find my ticket because I forgot where I was going. It happens to us, my brothers and sisters. We do forget that our end goal in life is heaven. We get preoccupied with the things of our daily lives, schoolwork, exams, end of semester projects and papers. We get so involved in our world, we also add on other things like email and internet and Facebook, so many things that can distract us from our main goal, and that is discerning the voice of the shepherd in our lives, who knows us intimately, who calls out our names and asks us to nurture that wonderful relationship he has with us. Sometimes we come to that realization that maybe I need to do something positive. Maybe it's not enough to go to church on Sunday. Maybe it's not enough to go to a small faith-sharing group at times. Maybe I have to pick up the Bible. Maybe I have to learn a little more about Jesus on my own. Maybe I have to talk to others about how important Jesus is in my life. We can put it off all we want, but it's the inevitable for each one of us who Jesus claims as his sheep. We only have now to do it. I mentioned the I am. On the back of that little statement that talked about Moses in the Exodus, here's a little poem that says, I was regretting the past and fearing the future. Suddenly my Lord spoke, my name is I am. He paused, I waited, he continued. When you live in the past, with its mistakes and regrets, difficult. I am not there. My name is not I was. When you live in the future with its problems and fears, it is difficult. I'm not there. My name is not I will be. But when you live in the moment, it is not difficult at all. I am here for you. My name is I am. Many of you are leaving our beloved campus, going to internships, jobs, graduate school, home for vacation. I'm going to ask you to focus on one of those I am statements that Jesus utters in the Gospel of John. Whether it be bread of life, whether it be light of the world, whether it be vine and branches, or whether it be this Sunday's Good Shepherd. I'm going to ask you to read it, I'm going to ask you to dwell on it, and I'm going to ask you how you can become that much closer to Jesus Christ, who is present. I am for you, calling you by name, calling you into that intimate, loving, forgiving, merciful, all-embracing relationship. The abundant life that God promises us that begins